The transport ship moved through space like a silver needle threading through black cloth. Inside, Kang Day pressed his hand against the cold window and watched Earth shrink behind him. His home looked so small now, a blue marble disappearing into the darkness. He wondered if he would ever see it again. Around him, 50,000 other humans filled the massive ship. They talked excitedly about the future. They were going to be ambassadors, they said. Cultural exchange students. They would learn from the Vorath and bring that knowledge back to Earth. Humanity would finally join the galactic community as equals. Kang Day wanted to believe it. He was 28 years old and worked as a combat engineer in Seoul. When the Vorath arrived on Earth 6 months ago, everyone called it a miracle. First contact, proof that humans were not alone. The Vorath seemed kind. They spoke perfect English and Korean and every language. They smiled and promised friendship. "Are you scared?" a woman asked next to him. Kang Day turned. She was young, maybe 22, with nervous eyes. "A little," he admitted. "You?" "Yes, but excited too." "My name is Lee Hana." Kang Day. They shook hands. Hana said she was a teacher from Busan. She wanted to learn Vorath education methods and bring them home. She talked fast when she was nervous, filling the silence with words about her students and her dreams. Kang Day listened, but his mind was elsewhere. He thought about his younger sister Han Bayul. She cried when he left. She was only 23 and worked for the military now. She begged him not to go. "Something feels wrong," she had said. They came too fast. They offered too much. Why would an advanced species care about us? But Kang Day went anyway. Someone had to. If the Vorath were real friends, humanity needed to learn from them. If they were not, someone needed to find out. The journey took 3 weeks. The ship jumped through something called slip space, folding distance like paper. Kang Day spent the time learning basic Vorath words and studying their culture, from the information packets provided. The Vorath worshipped a sun god named Pyrrhus. They valued honor and fire. They had united hundreds of species under their guidance. It all seemed noble. When they finally arrived at the Vorath home system, Kang Day stood at the window again. 3 planets orbited a massive red sun. The largest planet glowed with cities that covered every surface. Billions of lights sparkled like stars brought down to ground. "Beautiful," Hana whispered beside him. The ship landed at an enormous spaceport. The humans were told to gather their belongings and form lines. Vorath officials waited for them. Tall beings with dark purple skin and 4 arms. They wore robes marked with flame symbols. "Welcome, honored guests," the lead Vorath said. His voice was deep and warm. "You have traveled far. Rest now. Tomorrow your education begins." They were led to a massive building made of black stone. It looked like a temple. Inside, the halls were lined with torches that burned with blue flames. Strange symbols covered the walls. The air smelled of incense and something else, something bitter. Kang Day noticed the doors. They were thick, reinforced metal. The windows had bars. This did not look like a school. This looked like a prison. "Something is wrong," he whispered to Hana. She nodded. Others were noticing too. The excited chatter died down. Fear replaced it. They were separated into groups and taken to large rooms filled with beds. Guards stood at every exit. Vorath guards armed with weapons that hummed with energy. "Rest," the guard said. "Tomorrow you will understand your purpose." That night, no one slept well. Kang Day lay in his bed and listened to people cry in the darkness. He heard others pray. Some tried the doors and found them locked from outside. Morning came too quickly. The guards returned and ordered everyone to the central hall. The 50,000 humans were gathered in a space so large their voices echoed like thunder. At the front, on a raised platform, stood a Vorath in elaborate robes. His face was painted with red marks. His forearms spread wide. "Humans of Earth," he began, "you have been chosen for the greatest honor. You will serve Pyrrhus the eternal flame. You will burn in his glory and purify the cosmos with your sacrifice." The words hit like hammers. Sacrifice. Burn. Screaming started immediately. People ran for the exits, but guards blocked them. Energy weapons fired into the air, silencing the crowd with fear. "You are not guests," the robed Vorath continued. "You are offerings. Your species is young and weak. Your souls will feed the flame. This is the way of the cosmos. The strong guide the weak into the fire." Kang Day felt his blood turn to ice. This was no cultural exchange. They had been harvested like crops, taken from Earth to die. Hana grabbed his arm. They lied. They lied to all of us. The Vorath priest raised one arm. On massive screens around the hall, images appeared. Other species, other beings burning on great pyres while crowds cheered. Hundreds of different creatures from across the galaxy, all screaming as flames consumed them. Every cycle we burn 1,000 offerings. The priest said, "Today we begin with your kind. The ceremony starts at sunset. Prepare your souls." The humans were dragged back to their rooms. Guards now stood inside, watching them constantly. People collapsed. Some went mad with fear. Others raged and threw themselves at the walls. Kangde sat on his bed and forced himself to think. Panic would not save him. Rage would not save him. He was an engineer. Engineers solved problems. Through the window, he could see a massive structure in the distance, a pyramid of black stone with flames erupting from its peak, the sacrificial altar, where they would all die. That evening, the guards came. They took the first group, 1,000 humans. Kangde and Hana watched from the window as they were marched toward the pyramid. They could hear singing. The Vorath were celebrating. Hana wept. "We are going to die here. We are never going home." Kangde clenched his fists. "No, I refuse. I will not die screaming for their god. I will not give them that. What can we do?" Hana asked. "I do not know yet," Kangde said. "But I will find a way. I swear it." In the distance, flames rose into the sky. The screaming carried on the wind. The first 1,000 were burning. Kangde turned away from the window. He looked at the room, at the guards, at the walls. Somewhere in this nightmare there had to be a weakness. He just had to find it before his turn came. He thought of Han Buell back on Earth. She was right. She was always right. He should have listened, but now he was here. And if he was going to die, he would make it mean something. 14 days passed like a slow nightmare. Every sunset, the guards came. Every sunset, 1,000 humans were taken to the pyramid. The screaming never got easier to hear. Kangde spent his time watching the guards. He counted their shifts. He noted their weapons. He studied the layout of the building. He was not sure what he could do with this information, but he refused to sit and wait for death. Hana helped him. So did others. A man named Park Minho, who had been a soldier. A woman named Kim Yuna, who was a programmer. They whispered plans in the corners away from the guards, but the truth was simple and terrible. They were trapped. The Vorath were too strong. The weapons were too advanced. Escape seemed impossible. On the 15th day, the guards came for Kangde's group. "Today you burn," the lead guard said. He almost sounded bored. Kangde stood up. His legs felt weak, but he forced them to work. Around him, people screamed and begged. The guards dragged them forward without mercy. Hana grabbed his hand, her face pale with terror. "I am scared," she whispered. "Me too," Kangde said. They were marched through the temple halls toward the exit. Outside, the sun was setting, turning the sky blood red. The pyramid waited ahead, massive and dark. Thousands of Vorath lined the streets watching. They sang hymns in their language. Some threw flowers at the humans, like this was a celebration. The humans were led up the pyramid steps, 1,000 people climbing toward death. At the top, a vast platform held 100 stone pillars. The humans would be tied to these pillars and burned alive while the Vorath watched and prayed. Kangde looked around desperately. Ships floated in the sky above, broadcasting the ceremony across the Vorath Empire. Millions, maybe billions, would watch them die. This was entertainment for them. This was religion. A Vorath priest in golden robes waited at the top. He was old, his purple skin wrinkled, his forearms decorated with jeweled bands. This was Varthun, the high priest, the one who spoke for Pyrrhus. "Welcome offerings," Varthun said. "Today you join the eternal flame. Today you are purified." The guards began tying humans to the pillars. Kangde did not fight. Fighting would only make them hurt him more. He let them bind his wrists and ankles to the cold stone. Beside him, Hana was tied to her own pillar. She was crying silently. "I am sorry," Kangde said to her. "I am sorry we came here." "Not your fault," Hana said. "We all chose this." Barthun raised his arms. The crowd below fell silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. The old priest began to chant in the Vorath language. Other priests joined him. Their voices rose in a song that sounded beautiful and horrible at the same time. Flames erupted around the base of the pillars, blue fire that burned hotter than anything on Earth. The humans began screaming. The fire climbed higher, reaching for them. Kangde closed his eyes. He thought of Han Buell. He hoped she would be okay. He hoped Earth would survive. He hoped someone, somehow, would stop this. The flames reached him. Heat crashed over his body like a physical force. Pain exploded through every nerve. He tried not to scream but could not help it. The fire was everywhere, eating at his clothes, his skin, his very being. But then something strange happened. The pain stopped growing. The fire touched his skin but did not consume it. Kangde opened his eyes and looked down. Flames covered his body, but he was not burning. His skin glowed with a strange light, like he was made of energy himself. The chanting faltered. Barthun stopped mid-word. Around Kangde, the other humans were burning. Their screams filled the air. But he stood untouched, wrapped in flames that could not hurt him. Impossible, Barthun whispered. The crowd below gasped. The singing stopped. Silence fell over the pyramid, broken only by the crackling of fire and the dying screams of the burning. Kangde stared at his hands. They should be ash. They should be gone. But they remained, solid and real. Whatever was happening, he did not understand it. His body had done something, some biological response he never knew existed. Barthun approached slowly. His face showed shock, then anger, then something else. Fear. The flames, the old priest said. The flames will not take you. No, Kangde said. His voice came out stronger than he expected. They will not. The guards rushed forward and pulled him from the pillar. They threw water on the flames. When the fire died, Kangde stood on the stone platform, his clothes burned away, his body covered in burns but alive. Very much alive. The crowd below erupted in confusion. Some cheered, others shouted in anger. The priests gathered around Barthun, speaking rapidly in their language. What does this mean? A younger priest asked. Barthun's face was dark with fury, but when he spoke, his voice was controlled. The ancient law is clear. Any being who survives the sacred flames is marked by Pyrrhus. They are chosen. They must be freed. But he is human, another priest protested. A lesser being. The law does not distinguish, Barthun said. Each word sounded like it caused him pain. Pyrrhus has spoken. This one is chosen. The guards cut Kangde's bonds. He fell to his knees, his body shaking with shock and pain. The burns covered most of his skin. He could barely move, but he was alive. Below, the ceremony continued. The other 999 humans burned. Their screams echoed across the city. Kangde could do nothing but listen and hate himself for surviving when they did not. When it was over, the guards carried him down the pyramid. The Vorath crowd parted before him, staring. Some touched his burned skin as he passed, whispering prayers. Others spat at him. He was taken to a healing chamber in the temple. Medical equipment that looked like nothing on Earth was brought in. A young Vorath healer entered. She was smaller than the others, with lighter purple skin and only 3 fingers on each hand. I am Cal, she said in perfect English. I will tend to you. Kangde tried to speak, but his throat was raw from screaming. Cal placed something cold on his burns. The pain faded slightly. Why did I survive? Kangde managed to whisper. Cal looked at him for a long moment. I do not know. In 3,000 years of burnings, only 12 beings have survived the flames. You are the 13th. What happened to the others? Most died later from their injuries. 2 lived and were worshipped as saints. 1 went mad. Cal paused. You are the first human to survive. The priests are frightened. They do not know what it means. What do you think it means? Kangde asked. Cal's eyes met his. I think it means their god is false. I think it means you are something they did not expect. Something stronger. She leaned closer and whispered, I think it means hope. Then she returned to treating his wounds, saying nothing more, nothing. But Kangde saw something in her eyes. Something that looked like rebellion. He lay back and stared at the ceiling. His body was broken, but his mind was clear. He had survived the impossible. Somehow, against every law of nature he knew, he had walked through fire and lived. The Vorath had made a mistake. They thought humans were weak. They thought humans would simply burn and die. But Kangde had not died, and now he was inside their temple, marked as chosen by their own god. He had access. He had opportunity. He did not know how yet, but he would use this. He would make them pay for every scream, for every human that burned, for Hana and all the others. The Vorath thought the ceremony was over, but Kangde knew it had just begun. Kangde spent 10 days in the healing chamber. His burns slowly closed, leaving scars that covered most of his body. Cal came every day to treat him. She worked in silence at first, but gradually she began to talk. She told him about the Vorath Collective. They ruled over 70 different species across 200 star systems. Some species served willingly, believing the Vorath religion. Others served out of fear. The sacrifices happened 4 times a year. Different species each time. Thousands burned to feed Pyrus. Does anyone resist? Kangde asked one day. Cal looked at the door, making sure they were alone. Some small groups. They hide and whisper. But they are afraid. The Vorath military is too strong. The priests control everything. Are you part of these groups? Cal hesitated. Then she nodded slowly. Yes, we are few. We meet in secret. We try to save who we can. But it is not enough. It is never enough. Kangde sat up despite the pain. How many humans are left? About 38,000. They are held in 3 different temples. Another burning is scheduled in 20 days. 20 days. Kangde clenched his fists. 20 days to find a way to stop it. When he was strong enough to walk, Cal took him to his new quarters. They were not prison cells this time. He was chosen by Pyrus now, which meant he lived in the temple complex as a guest. The room was small but comfortable. The door was not locked. You can move freely in the temple, Cal explained. But guards will follow you. Farthun does not trust you. Good, Kangde said. He should not. Over the next days, Kangde explored the temple. He memorized every hallway, every door, every guard post. He was an engineer. Understanding systems was what he did. And this temple was a system, just like any building. He discovered the power core in the lower levels, massive generators that fed energy to the entire complex. He saw the communications array on the roof. He found the armory where the guards kept their weapons. Most importantly, he found the prisoner holding areas. He could not go inside, but he watched from a distance. He saw humans being led out for work details, forced to clean and maintain the temple. They looked thin and broken, but they were alive. One day a guard stopped him. The guard was not Vorath. He was shorter, with gray skin and large black eyes. He wore the same armor as the others, but moved nervously. You are the human who survived, the guard said in broken English. Yes, Kangde said carefully. I am Rook. I am Helkin. My people serve the Vorath. The guard looked around. Can we talk? Private? Kangde followed Rook to an empty storage room. The Helkin guard closed the door and removed his helmet. His face was narrow, his eyes sad. My people were conquered 300 years ago, Rook said. The Vorath burned half our population. The rest of us serve them now. We have no choice. You want to help, Kangde guessed. Yes. When I saw you survive the flames, I felt something I had not felt in years. Hope. Rook's hand shook. I am a coward. I have watched thousands die. I have done nothing. But maybe if you are planning something I can help, please let me help. Kangde studied the Helkin. He saw genuine pain in those eyes. Can you move freely in the temple? Yes, I am a guard. No one questions me. Can you reach the human prisoners? Sometimes. When I'm assigned to their areas, Kangde made a decision. He had no choice but to trust someone. Then yes, I need your help. Over the next week, Kangde formed a plan. It was dangerous and probably impossible. But doing nothing was not an option. Through Rook, he made contact with the remaining humans. He sent messages with the Helkin Guard during his rounds. Simple messages at first. I am Kang Day, I survived the burning. We are planning an escape. Responses came back. How and when? And we are ready. Among the prisoners were former soldiers like Park Min-ho, engineers like Kim Yuna, scientists and fighters and people who refused to give up. They began preparing quietly, making small weapons from anything they could find, organizing themselves into units. Cal brought others from her underground movement. 5 Vorath who hated what their species had become, 3 Helkin like Rook. 2 beings from a species called the Torvin who could move through shadows. They were few, but they were committed. They met late at night in the storage room. Kang Day explained his plan using a map Cal had drawn. The next burning happens in 8 days, he said. 20,000 humans will be taken to the Grand Arena. It is larger than the pyramid. More space, more guards, but also more chaos. What do you want to do? Cal asked. I want to overload the temple's power core, create an explosion big enough to disable the shields and weapon systems. In the confusion, the prisoners fight back. We have people on the inside ready to move. Rook and the other guards will supply weapons. You will kill thousands of Vorath, one of Cal's friends protested. They have killed millions of others, Kang Day said coldly. I would prefer no one dies, but I will not let 20,000 more humans burn. The room fell silent. Finally, Cal nodded. I will help you reach the power core. I know the access codes. It is suicide, Rook said. But he was smiling. I am in, the others agreed one by one. That night, Kang Day sat alone in his room. He had one more thing to do. Cal had smuggled him access to the temple's communication system. He could send one message to Earth before they traced it. He recorded a video. His scarred face filled the screen. Hanbyul, if you see this, know that I am okay. But know also that the Vorath lied. They are not friends. They are slavers and murderers. They took 50,000 humans to burn as sacrifices. I survived. I am going to try to save the others. But if I fail, Earth must be ready. Do not trust them. Do not let them take anyone else. Prepare for war. I love you, sister. Tell Mom and Dad I am sorry. He sent the message encoded in a permitted farewell recording. He hoped it would reach her. He hoped Earth would listen. 3 days before the ceremony, Varthun summoned Kang Day to the High Temple. The old priest sat on a throne of black stone surrounded by guards. You have been watched, human, Varthun said. You speak with the Helkin Guard. You explore the temple. What are you planning? Nothing, Kang Day lied. I am trying to understand my place here. I did not ask to be chosen. No, you did not. Varthun leaned forward. I do not believe Pyrrhus chose you. I believe you are an accident. A mistake. When the next ceremony comes, I will bind you in the front row. You will watch your people burn. You will learn your place. Maybe, Kang Day said, or maybe your god made a mistake choosing a species like mine. Varthun's face darkened with rage. Remove him. The guards dragged Kang Day out. But he had learned what he needed. Varthun was afraid. The high priest's faith was shaken. Good. Fear was a weapon too. 2 days remained. Kang Day met with his group one final time. Are we ready? He asked. Cal checked her notes. The power core can be overloaded from the engineering bay. I can get you there. It will take 3 minutes to reach critical mass. I have weapons hidden near the prisoner areas, Rook said. Simple things. Pipes, blades, stolen energy cells. But enough for people who know how to fight. The prisoners are organized, Kang Day said. When the explosion happens, they move. We fight our way to the landing bays and take ships. Many will die, one of the Torvin said quietly. Many have already died. Kang Day replied. Tomorrow we make sure it means something. They separated. Kang Day returned to his room and did not sleep. He thought about everyone who had burned. He thought about Hana, who died on the pillar next to him. He thought about Earth and his sister and everything he might never see again, but mostly he thought about fire. The Vorath worshipped fire. They thought it purified. Tomorrow, Kang Day would show them what fire really meant. It meant burning down everything they had built. The day of the grand offering arrived with a red sunrise. Kang Day woke early and dressed in the ceremonial robes Varthun had sent. As a chosen one, he would sit on the royal platform and watch the burning. The high priest wanted him to see his people die. Varthun did not know he had handed Kang Day the perfect position. 20,000 human prisoners were brought into the grand arena at noon. The arena was massive, carved from a mountain with seating for 1,000,000 Vorath. Every seat was filled. Billions more watched on screens across the empire. This was the largest ceremony of the year. The prisoners were led onto the arena floor in chains. Kangde watched from the platform high above. He sat between Varthun and the Vorath Empress Veltara, a tall woman with cold eyes and a crown of silver thorns. "Your people look frightened," Veltara said to him. Her voice was calm, almost kind. "Do not worry. The fire is quick, is it?" Kangde asked. He kept his voice steady. His hand rested near the small device Cal had given him, hidden in his robes. A trigger. When he pressed it, the power core would begin its overload. Below, the prisoners were arranged in circles around 100 massive fire pits. The Vorath priests began their chanting. Drums pounded. The crowd sang their hymns. Kangde looked across the platform. He spotted Cal standing among the junior priests, her face calm but her hands trembling. Ruck was in the arena with the other guards, positioned near the prisoners as planned. Varthun raised his forearms. "Today we honor Pyrrhus with the greatest offering in a generation. 20,000 souls to feed the eternal flame." The crowd roared approval. "Let the purification begin." Guards moved toward the fire pits, carrying torches of blue flame. They would light the pits and the humans would burn from below, slowly and painfully. Kangde had learned this ceremony was designed to last an hour. Maximum suffering for maximum glory. Not today. Kangde pressed the trigger. Nothing happened for 3 seconds. Then deep below the arena, a sound like thunder rolled through the ground. The mountain shook. Lights flickered and died. Emergency alarms shrieked across the complex. "What is happening?" Veltara shouted. An explosion ripped through the east side of the arena. Fire and debris shot into the air. The shields protecting the platform failed. Secondary explosions followed as power conduits overloaded throughout the complex. Chaos erupted instantly. The crowd panicked, stampeding toward exits. Guards ran in every direction, unsure where the attack was coming from. On the arena floor, the human prisoners stared in shock. Then Rook's voice boomed across the emergency speakers. The Helkin Guard had reached the communication center. "Humans, now! Fight now!" Rook and the other rebel guards threw weapons onto the arena floor. Pipes, blades, stolen energy rifles. The prisoners broke their chains, which had been deliberately weakened over the past days. Park Minho grabbed a rifle and started shooting at the Vorath guards. "Traitors!" Varthun screamed. He turned to Kangde, understanding flooding his face. You did this!" "Yes," Kangde said. He stood and threw off the ceremonial robe, revealing a stolen guard armor underneath. "I did." Varthun lunged at him with all 4 arms. The old priest was stronger than he looked. He caught Kangde around the throat and squeezed. "You will die for this." Kangde drove his knee into Varthun's stomach. The priest gasped but did not let go. They struggled, crashing against the platform railing. Below, the battle raged. Humans fought Vorath guards hand to hand. Energy weapons fired in every direction. Bodies fell on both sides. Cal appeared behind Varthun and struck him with a metal rod. The priest stumbled. Kangde broke free and kicked Varthun hard. The old priest tumbled over the railing and fell toward the fire pits below. Varthun's scream cut off as he hit the flames he had lit for others. "Go!" Cal shouted at Kangde. "Get to the landing bays." Empress Veltara drew a blade and moved toward them. But more explosions rocked the arena. Part of the ceiling collapsed. In the confusion, Kangde and Cal ran. They raced through the panicking crowds, fighting their way to the arena's lower levels. Other rebels joined them. Ruck appeared, his armor burned but his eyes bright. "The prisoners are moving." Mino is leading them. They reached the landing bays where the Vorath kept their transport ships. Guards defended the entrance, but the rebels overwhelmed them. Kangde picked up a fallen energy rifle and fired at the bay door controls. The massive doors opened. Inside, 20 transport ships sat waiting. Each could carry 1,000 people. The rebels rushed to the nearest ships, powering them up. Park Minho arrived leading thousands of freed prisoners. They poured into the landing bay, some wounded, all terrified but alive. "Get on the ships," Minho shouted. "Move, move!" The Vorath were reorganizing. Soldiers rushed toward the bay, firing into the crowds. Humans fell, but others returned fire. The Torvan shadow movers darted through the enemy ranks, creating confusion. Kangde ran to the lead ship. "How many are we getting?" Maybe 8,000, Minho said, loading wounded onto the ramp. The rest are scattered or already dead. 8,000 out of 20,000. It was not enough. It would never be enough. We take what we can, Kang Day said. His heart broke saying it. The ships began lifting off. Vorath fighters scrambled from other bays trying to intercept. But the explosions had damaged their launch systems. The human ships, driven by rebels who knew Vorath technology, blasted their way out of the arena. Kang Day stood at the cockpit of the lead ship, watching the arena fall away below. Fires burned across the complex. Thousands of Vorath lay dead or wounded, and 12,000 humans had not made it to the ships. Cal stood beside him, tears running down her purple face. "We saved some," she whispered. "Not enough," Kang Day said. "It never is," Rook said from behind them. "But it is more than yesterday, more than we had hoped." The ships jumped into slip space, fleeing the system. Alarms and warnings filled every screen. The Vorath fleet would chase them. They had minutes, maybe hours, before hunters found them. In the cargo hold, the freed humans collapsed in exhaustion and relief. Some cried. Some stared at nothing. Park Minho moved among them, organizing medical care for the wounded with the limited supplies they had. Kim Yuna approached Kang Day. The programmer's arm was broken, but she smiled through the pain. "We are free. Actually free for now," Kang Day said. "They will hunt us." "Let them hunt," Minho said, joining them. "We know how they think now. We know their systems. And we are angry." Kang Day looked at the rebels gathered around him. Humans, Vorath, Helkin, Torvin. Different species united by suffering and rage. "This is not over," he said. "We saved 8,000. Somewhere in this galaxy there are more prisoners. More species being burned. We cannot hide forever." "What are you saying?" Cal asked. "I'm saying we fight back. Really fight back. We find others who hate the Vorath. We build an army. We end this forever." Rook laughed. It was a harsh sound. "An army? We have 8,000 refugees and a few stolen ships." "That is how every rebellion starts," Minho said. Small, angry, refusing to die quietly. The ship's sensors screamed warnings. Vorath hunters were entering the system behind them. "We need to find somewhere to hide," Cal said. "Fast." Kang Day studied the star maps. His engineering mind worked through the possibilities. "There. That nebula. It is dense, full of radiation. Their sensors will have trouble finding us there." They changed course, diving toward the nebula. Behind them, the hunters closed in. But the nebula swallowed the ships, hiding them in clouds of cosmic dust and energy. For now, they were safe. Kang Day sat down heavily. His body ached. His mind was numb. He had started a war today. Thousands had died. Thousands more would die before this ended. But when he closed his eyes, he saw the faces of the 8,000 in the cargo hold, alive because he refused to watch them burn. He thought of Varthun falling into his own flames. He thought of the High Priest's face, the shock and fear. Good. Let the Vorath feel fear. Let them learn what it meant to fight humans who had nothing left to lose. The refugee fleet drifted through the nebula for 3 weeks. The ships were damaged and supplies ran low. Food synthesizers worked overtime to feed 8,000 people. Medical bays overflowed with wounded. Every day was a struggle to survive. Kang Day barely slept. He moved between ships using small shuttles, checking systems, talking to people, planning their next move. He had not asked to become a leader, but the freed prisoners looked to him. So did the rebels from other species. Park Minho organized the former soldiers into defense units. Kim Yuna worked on the ship's systems, improving their stealth capabilities. Rook trained volunteers in basic combat. Cal tried to coordinate with her underground contacts in the Vorath Empire, sending coded messages into the void and hoping for responses. On the 21st day, Cal rushed into the command ship's bridge where Kang Day was studying maps. "I found something," she said, breathless. "An old signal, automated. It has been broadcasting for centuries." "What is it?" "Coordinates. And a message. Sanctuary for the lost." Kang Day frowned. "That could be a trap." "It could be," Cal admitted. "But the signal is ancient. It predates the Vorath Empire. Someone built something out here long ago. They followed the signal for 2 days, deeper into uncharted space. The nebula thinned and a structure appeared on their sensors. Massive. Old. Dead. A space station. It hung in the void like a metal ghost. The design was unlike anything Kang Day had seen. Not Vorath. not human. The hull was black and silver, covered in symbols from a language no one recognized. Life signs? Minho asked. None, Yuna reported, but power readings are active. Minimal, but something is still running in there. We need supplies, Kang Day decided, and information. We are going in. They docked carefully. A team of 20 entered the station wearing environment suits. Kang Day led with Minho, Cal, and Rook close behind. The station's airlock still worked, ancient but functional. Inside, the corridors were dark and silent. Emergency lights flickered on as they passed, responding to movement. The walls were covered in the same strange symbols they had seen outside. What is this place? Rook whispered. They found a central chamber. Screens lined the walls, all dormant except one. As they approached, the screen activated. Text appeared in dozens of languages, scrolling rapidly until it found one they recognized. English. Welcome, refugees, the screen said. I am Archive. I was built by the Antari who came before. Who fled before? Who died before? The words sent chills through Kang Day. Before what? Before the Vorath Collective. Before the endless burnings. Before the cycle consumed all. More text appeared. The Antari tried to stop them. They failed. Their species is extinct. But they left this place. They left their knowledge. They left their warning. The screens around the room came alive, showing images. Planets burning, species being slaughtered. The Vorath Empire spreading like a disease across the galaxy. And older images showing the Vorath themselves as victims, conquered by an even earlier empire learning cruelty from their masters. The cycle, Archive continued. The strong dominate the weak. The weak become strong and dominate others. Round and round. For 10,000 years, how do we break it? Cal asked. You already have. By choosing to resist. By joining together, different species as equals. This was the Antari's hope. That someday someone would refuse. That someday the cycle would end. The Archive opened its databases. Information flooded the screens. Star charts showing the entire Vorath Empire. Lists of subjugated species. Locations of temples and military bases. Technology schematics. Everything the Antari had learned before they fell. This is a gift, Archive said. Use it, finish what we could not. Kang Day stared at the screens. This was incredible. This was exactly what they needed. Can you transmit this information across the galaxy? I can, but it will expose this location. The Vorath will find you. Do it anyway, Kang Day said. Send everything. Every species needs to know the truth. Let them decide what to do with it. Archive complied. Signals burst from the station's ancient transmitters, spreading through the galaxy at faster than light speeds. Every open channel received the data. News networks, military frequencies, even entertainment broadcasts. The truth about the Vorath Empire spread like wildfire. Over the next days, responses came. Some were from Vorath loyalists cursing and threatening, but others were different. A message from a Helkan colony. We thought we were alone. Thank you. We are ready to fight. A transmission from a species called the Draylen. Our ancestors were burned. We have never forgotten. Tell us where to go. A coded signal from inside the Vorath military. Junior officers who have seen too much. We will sabotage what we can. And then, 3 days after the broadcast, a message from Earth. Kang Dai's hands shook as he opened it. His sister's face appeared on the screen. Day, Han Buell said. She looked older, tired. We got your warning. Earth has been preparing. We knew something was wrong when no one returned. The government has been building ships, weapons, everything we can. When your message reached us showing what the Vorath really are, everything changed. She smiled, and it was fierce. We are coming, brother. Earth is sending a fleet. We will be there in 6 weeks. Hold on until then. The message ended with coordinates for a rendezvous point. Kang Day played it 3 times. His sister was alive. Earth was coming. They were not alone anymore. He called a meeting of all the ship's leaders. In the station's restored conference room, representatives from every freed species gathered. Humans, Vorath rebels, Helkan, Torvin, and new arrivals who had fled their own worlds to join them. We have a choice, Kang Day began. We can hide here and wait for Earth's fleet. Or we can act now. Use what we have learned. Strike at the Vorath where they are weak. We are refugees, someone protested. Not an army. We are both, Minho said. I have been training people. We have captured Vorath weapons. We know their tactics. We can hit small targets. Free more prisoners. Gather more allies, Cal stood. I have been in contact with resistance cells across 12 systems. They are waiting for a signal. For someone to lead them. If we act, they will act. It is dangerous, Rook added. Many will die. Many are already dying, Kang Day said. Every day the Vorath burn another species. Every day they take more slaves. We can either watch or fight. I say we fight. The vote was unanimous. Over the next weeks, the refugee fleet became something more. They called themselves the Flame Bearers, taking the fire that was meant to destroy them and making it their symbol. Using the archive's information, they identified Vorath weaknesses. Small temple outposts with minimal guards, supply convoys traveling through empty space, prison ships carrying captives to burning ceremonies. The Flame Bearers struck fast and disappeared. They freed prisoners and destroyed temples. Word spread. The unstoppable Vorath Empire was bleeding. More species joined. A warship from the Drellin brought 5,000 soldiers. The Torvin sent shadow fighters, masters of stealth. Even some Vorath, ashamed of their empire's crimes, defected with ships and weapons. Kim Yuna upgraded their technology, combining human ingenuity with ancient Antari designs. Park Minho trained them into a real fighting force. Cal coordinated intelligence networks across the empire, and Kang Day held them together. He was not a general. He was not a politician. He was an engineer who refused to watch people burn. But somehow that was enough. 6 weeks after Earth's message, Admiral Choi Tae-yang's fleet arrived at the rendezvous point. 50 human warships, newly built, armed with reverse-engineered Vorath technology improved by human innovation. Kang Day stood in the docking bay as the Admiral's shuttle landed. The doors opened and a tall woman in a military uniform stepped out. Behind her came more soldiers and then a familiar face, Han Buell. She ran to him. They hugged, and Kang Day felt tears he had been holding for months finally break free. "You are alive," she whispered. "When we saw the footage of you in the flames, I thought you were dead." "Almost," Kang Day said. "But not quite." Admiral Choi approached. She was in her 50s with short gray hair and sharp eyes. "Kang Day, you have done well." "Earth is proud." "We are not done yet," Kang Day said. "No," the Admiral agreed. "We are not. Show me what you have built." They toured the fleet. The Admiral saw the mixed crews, humans working alongside aliens. She saw the captured Vorath ships. She saw the determination in everyone's eyes. "This is remarkable," she said finally. "You have started something that will change the galaxy." "We started it," Kang Day said. "But we need Earth's help to finish it." Admiral Choi smiled. "You have it. Let us plan a war." That night, the Flame Bearers gathered in the station's main hall. Thousands of beings from dozens of species united by suffering and hope. Kang Day stood before them and spoke. "We have been burned, enslaved, and broken. The Vorath thought we would die quietly. They were wrong. We are still here, and we are not alone anymore. Earth has come. Other species are rising. The galaxy is waking up." He raised his fist. "The Vorath taught us about fire. They thought it would purify us. Instead, it forged us into something they never expected. We are the Flame Bearers. We will burn their empire to ash and build something better from the remains. Will you stand with me?" The hall erupted in cheers. Different languages, different voices, all saying the same thing. Yes. The ancient station transformed over the next months. What was once a tomb became a living city. Thousands of refugees made it their home. Workshops were built. Training facilities established. The Flame Bearers grew from a desperate band of survivors into something that looked like a real rebellion. But Kang Day struggled with leadership. Every night he dreamed of the people who burned. Every decision felt too heavy. One wrong choice could kill thousands. He sat alone in his quarters one evening, staring at casualty reports. Cal found him there. "You have not slept in 3 days," she said. "I cannot sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see them. Hana, the others, all the ones I could not save." Cal sat beside him. "You cannot save everyone, Kang Day. No one can." "Then what is the point?" His voice broke. "We fight and people still die. How is this better?" "Because they die fighting," Cal said firmly. "Not burning. Not helpless. They die as free beings choosing to resist. That matters." "Does it?" "Yes," she took his hand. "I was a healer who watched thousands burn. I hated myself for not acting. You showed me courage was possible. You showed all of us. The people who follow you do not expect perfection. They expect you to keep trying. So keep trying, Kangday looked at her. This Vorath woman who had risked everything to help him, who had betrayed her own species because she believed in something better. Thank you, he said quietly. A knock interrupted them. Hanbul entered. We have incoming ships. A lot of them. They rushed to the command center. Admiral Choi was already there, studying the sensors. 73 ships, she reported. Multiple species. They are broadcasting flame-bearer codes. The newcomers were refugees from all across the Vorath Empire. They had heard the broadcasts, seen the footage of freed prisoners, decided to risk everything to join the rebellion. A Dralan commander named Vess led them. She was tall, with blue-scaled skin and 3 eyes. She greeted Kangday with a warrior's salute. We bring soldiers, Vess said. And rage. The Vorath burned my grandmother's generation. We have waited centuries for revenge. Other species came too. The Kelvin brought biological weapons. The Harathi contributed engineers. The Moru sent their best pilots. Each species had suffered under the Vorath. Each brought what they could to the fight. In 1 month, the Flame-Bearer Alliance grew to 200 ships and 50,000 fighters. Admiral Choi called a strategy meeting. In the station's war room, leaders from 20 species gathered. Holograms showed the entire Vorath Empire. We cannot win through brute force, the Admiral began. The Vorath have thousands of ships, billions of soldiers, but they have a weakness. Cal stepped forward. Their empire is held together by faith. The Vorath people believe Pyrrhus is real, that the burnings are necessary. If we destroy that belief, we destroy their unity. She highlighted a massive structure in orbit around the Vorath homeworld. This is the Eternal Pyre, an orbital station the size of a moon. The Vorath believe it holds the voice of Pyrrhus, their god made manifest. Every major decision, every doctrine comes from here. What is it really? Minho asked. An artificial intelligence, Yuna said. She had hacked Vorath databases for weeks, built 3,000 years ago to control the population. It generates prophecies and commandments. The priests interpret them, but the AI is the source. So we destroy it, Rook said simply. It will not be simple, Admiral Choi said. The Eternal Pyre is the most heavily defended location in the Empire. Hundreds of ships guard it, thousands of weapons platforms, energy shields that could deflect a nuclear strike. But if we succeed, Cal said, the Vorath people will see their god was fake. A machine. The faith that holds the Empire together will shatter. Kangday studied the hologram. His engineering mind analyzed the structure. We need to get inside, destroy the AI core, and broadcast the truth to every Vorath citizen as it happens. How do we get inside? Han Bayol asked. We cannot fight past that many defenses, Cal smiled. We do not fight past them. We use them. I am still a registered temple healer. I have access codes, and I know the maintenance schedules. Once every 6 months, they allow supply ships through a secondary entrance. The next scheduled delivery is in 3 weeks. You want to sneak in on a supply ship? Minho looked skeptical. Not sneak, infiltrate, a small team. No more than 20 Vorath ships. Proper codes. We get in, reach the AI core, and plant charges. While the rest of us create a distraction, Admiral Choi added. We attack outlying temple worlds. Draw away the Eternal Pyre's defenders. Give your team time to work. It was insane. It could not work. But Kangday found himself nodding. We will need the best fighters, he said, and volunteers only. This is a one-way mission. Silence fell. Then Rook stood. I go. Me too, Han Buell said. One by one, others volunteered. Minho, Yuna, Cal, of course. Torvin shadow fighters. Dralan warriors. A Helkin explosives expert. In the end, they had 25 volunteers, too many. Kangday had to choose. He selected 18 plus Cal and himself. 20 total. Enough to fight but small enough to hide. The next weeks passed in frantic preparation. They drilled the plan until everyone knew it perfectly. They studied the Eternal Pyre's layout. They practiced with Vorath weapons and equipment. Vez and the other commanders organized the distraction forces. They would attack 6 temple worlds simultaneously, pulling Vorath ships away from the homeworld. It would be brutal. Many would die, but it was necessary. On the night before they left, Kangday could not sleep again. He walked the station's observation deck, staring at the stars. Han Buell joined him. Are you scared? She asked. Terrified, he admitted. Good. Means you are sane. She bumped his shoulder. Remember when we were kids? You always protected me. From bullies, from Dad's anger, from everything. That was my job. I am your brother, and I am yours. She looked at him seriously, which is why I am coming tomorrow. You do not get to die alone. No arguments. We left Earth together, remember? In spirit, at least. We finished this together. Kangde hugged her. When did you get so stubborn? I learned from the best. Morning came. The strike team gathered in the hangar. They wore Vorath armor and carried stolen weapons. 2 stolen supply ships waited, repainted and modified to match current Vorath military codes. Admiral Choi addressed them. You are the bravest people I have ever met. Human and non-human alike. When this is over, the galaxy will remember your names. If we succeed, Minho said. When you succeed, the Admiral corrected. Failure is not an option. They boarded the ships. Cal piloted the lead vessel with Kangde beside her. Hanbyul and Minho took the second ship. The rest divided between them. The station's bay doors opened. The ships launched into the dark. Behind them, Admiral Choi's fleet prepared for war. 200 ships against an empire. Impossible odds. But they had faced worse. The journey to the Vorath homeworld took 5 days. They traveled through regular space, avoiding slip space to reduce detection risk. Kangde spent the time going over the plan again and again. Step 1. Use Cal's codes to pass the first checkpoint. Step 2. Land at the maintenance bay. Step 3. Fight to the AI core. Step 4. Plant charges and broadcast the truth. Step 5. Escape or die trying. Simple. Except for the 1,000 things that could go wrong. On day 5, the Vorath homeworld appeared. A massive planet with purple oceans and red continents. Billions of Vorath lived there. The heart of the Empire, and above it the Eternal Pyre. The station was enormous, a construct of black metal and burning energy. It looked like a dark sun, flames erupting from its surface, beautiful and terrifying. This is it, Cal said. Transmitting access codes now. They approached the first checkpoint. Vorath patrol ships surrounded them, weapons armed. Kangde held his breath. The codes worked. The patrol ships moved aside. Good. Minho's voice came over the comm. First hurdle cleared. They navigated through layers of defenses. More checkpoints. More scans. Each time, Cal's codes got them through. Each time, Kangde expected alarms to sound, but they reached the maintenance bay without incident. The bay doors opened. The 2 ships entered. Dozens of other supply vessels filled the massive space, loading and unloading cargo. Vorath workers moved between them. They landed. The team disembarked, moving confidently like they belonged. Their Vorath armor disguised them. In the busy bay, no one looked twice. Core is 3 levels down, Cal whispered. Follow me. They moved as one unit through the station. Past workers. Past guards. Down elevators and through corridors. The Eternal Pyre was a city in space. Thousands of Vorath lived here, serving their god. They reached a security door. Cal's codes should have opened it. Should have. The door stayed locked. An alarm began to shriek. They know, Yuna hissed. Someone updated the codes. Guards rushed toward them from both ends of the corridor. Plan B, Kangde said. We fight. The quiet infiltration ended. The real battle began. Energy blasts filled the corridor. Kangde dove behind a support column as purple bolts scorched the walls. The Vorath guards were well-trained and heavily armed, but the strike team had something more powerful than training. They had rage. Minho returned fire, dropping 3 guards. The Torvan fighters melted into shadows and appeared behind enemy lines, striking with silent efficiency. Hanbyul moved like water, her combat training making her deadly in close quarters. Keep moving, Kangde shouted. We do not have time. Ruck pulled an explosive from his pack and threw it down the corridor. The blast tore through the security door. They rushed through the opening into a maintenance shaft. Alarms shrieked throughout the station. Kangde heard boots pounding above and below them. The entire station was mobilizing. How much time do we have? He asked Yuna. The programmer checked her stolen tablet. Admiral Choi is attacking the temple worlds now. But reinforcements are already returning. Maybe 20 minutes before this station is at full strength. 20 minutes. They needed an hour. But they would work with what they had. They descended through the shaft using emergency ladders. Twice more they encountered guards. Twice more they fought through. Each battle cost them time and people. A Helkin fighter fell to enemy fire. A Draylen warrior sacrificed herself holding a door so others could pass. By the time they reached the AI core level, their team of 20 had become 15. The core room was massive. At its center sat a sphere of silver metal covered in glowing circuits. The artificial intelligence that had controlled the Vorath Empire for 3,000 years. Around it, priest technicians worked at consoles, maintaining the systems. They looked up in shock as the strike team burst in. "Stop them!" someone screamed. The room erupted in chaos. The priests had weapons, but they were scholars, not soldiers. The strike team overwhelmed them quickly. Some priests fled. Others died fighting. A few surrendered, staring in horror at the mix of species invading their holy place. Cal approached one of the main consoles. "I can access the broadcast systems from here. When we destroy the core, every screen in the Empire will show it." "Do it," Kangde said. He turned to Yuna. "Plant the charges." The programmer moved to the sphere with the Helkin explosives expert. They began attaching shaped charges to critical points enough to vaporize the AI without destroying the whole station. 5 minutes, Yuna said. An explosion rocked the room. The main door blew inward. Dozens of elite Vorath guards poured through, led by Empress Veltara herself. She wore battle armor and carried a blade that crackled with energy. "Traitors," she snarled at Cal. "You would destroy everything for these animals?" "I would destroy everything to stop the burnings," Cal replied. "Pyrrhus is a lie. You know it. The Council knows it. You have always known it. The lie is necessary," Veltara shouted. "Without it, the Empire falls into chaos. Billions would die." "Billions die anyway," Kangde said. "Just slower. Just quieter. We are ending your empire, Empress, today." Veltara screamed and charged. Her guards followed. The final battle began. Minho and the soldiers formed a defensive line. Energy weapons blazed. The Torvin fighters struck from the shadows. Han Buell fought 3 guards at once, her movements precise and lethal. Rook faced Veltara. The small Helkin against the towering Empress. She laughed at him. "You think you can stop me, slave?" "I am not a slave anymore," Rook said. He fired his weapon point blank. Veltara dodged, impossibly fast. Her blade sliced through Rook's armor. He fell with a cry of pain. Han Buell appeared behind the Empress, striking at her back. Veltara spun and blocked, then kicked Han Buell across the room. The human crashed into a console and did not rise. "Buell," Kangde started toward his sister. "Finish the mission," Minho shouted, holding off more guards. "We will handle this." Kangde forced himself to turn away. Yuna was still planting charges. They needed 30 seconds more. Veltara cut down 2 Draylen warriors and advanced on Cal. "You could have been great. A leader of our people. Instead, you choose extinction." "I choose freedom," Cal said. She activated the broadcast system. Every screen in the Empire came alive, showing the AI core and the battle raging around it. Billions of Vorath watched. Billions of other species watched. They saw their Empress fighting. They saw the rebels. They saw the mechanical sphere at the center of their faith. "Charges ready," Yuna called. "Trigger them," Kangde ordered. The explosions were precise and devastating. The AI sphere cracked and shattered. Internal fires erupted. The circuits that had controlled the Empire for millennia died in flames and light. On every screen, the Vorath people watched their god die. Not in glory, not in divine power, but as a broken machine, the broadcast continued. Yuna had programmed it to show the archive's data. The true history of the Vorath. How they had been victims once. How they became victimizers. How the cycle of violence corrupted them across generations. Veltara screamed. Not in rage, in anguish. Her entire faith, her entire justification for the Empire crumbled in moments. She turned on Kangde with murder in her eyes, but Cal stepped between them. "No more, it is over. It will never be over." Veltara swung her blade. Cal caught it barehanded, the energy burning her flesh. She held tight. "Then kill me," Cal said. "Kill a daughter of your Empire trying to save it. Show them what you really are." Veltara stared at her, then at the screen showing billions of shocked faces, then at the burning remains of the AI. Her blade fell from her hands. She collapsed to her knees. "What have we done?" the Empress whispered. "What have we become?" More explosions rocked the station. Admiral Choi's fleet had arrived. The battle for the Vorath homeworld had begun in earnest. "We need to go," Minho said. Now they grabbed the wounded. Han Buell was conscious, barely. Rook could not walk. The Helkin expert was dead. Half their team was dead. They fought their way back through the station. Vorath guards blocked them, but something had changed. The guards fought with less conviction. Some even lowered their weapons, staring at the screen still showing the truth. They reached the hangar. Their ships waited, damaged but functional. They loaded the wounded and launched into chaos. The space around the Eternal Pyre was a war zone. Flame-bearer ships engaged the Vorath fleet. Explosions lit the darkness. Ships burned and fell, but the Vorath fleet was not fighting at full strength. Some ships had withdrawn. Others drifted without engaging. On hundreds of Vorath vessels, crews were arguing, fighting amongst themselves. The Empire was fracturing in real time. All flame-bearer forces. Admiral Choi's voice came over the comms. The Eternal Pyre is falling. I repeat, the Pyre is falling. Press the attack. Kangde watched through the viewport as the massive station began to break apart. Secondary explosions rippled through its structure. The fire that had burned at its heart for 3,000 years went dark. The fleet jumped to safety as the Eternal Pyre died. The war did not end that day. It continued for 6 more months. But it was different now. The Vorath Empire split into factions. Some fought to the last, unwilling to accept their god was false. Others sued for peace, led by Vorath like Kal, who wanted to atone. The Flame-Bearers liberated world after world. Species that had been enslaved for centuries rose up. Some Vorath colonies welcomed the rebels as liberators. Others had to be taken by force. The final battle came at a temple world called Kraxus. The last loyalist fleet made their stand there. Empress Veltara, who had survived and refused surrender, commanded them. Admiral Choi led the flame-bearer assault. The battle lasted 3 days. In the end, Veltara's ship was disabled and boarded. The Empress was found on her bridge, surrounded by dead crew. She did not fight when they arrested her. She simply stared ahead, broken. It was necessary, she whispered. It was all necessary. No one answered her. The war crime trials began immediately. Thousands of Vorath officials were charged with genocide. Some were executed. Others imprisoned. Many were allowed to go free after testifying and showing genuine remorse. Veltara was sentenced to life imprisonment on the ancient station that had become the Flame-Bearers' headquarters. She would spend her remaining years serving the species she had oppressed, working in medical bays and refugee centers. Kangde visited her once, 2 years after the war ended. Why come here? Veltara asked. She looked older, broken. To gloat? No, Kangde said. To understand. Why did you keep burning people when you knew it was wrong? Veltara was silent for a long time. Because stopping meant admitting we were monsters. Admitting all those deaths meant nothing. It was easier to keep going. To believe the lie. She looked at him. You think you are better? Wait. When you build something new, you will make different mistakes. The cycle continues. Maybe, Kangde admitted. But at least we will try to do better. He left her there and did not return. 5 years after the first burning, Kangde stood on Earth. He had come home after the war ended. Hanbiel was with him, recovered from her injuries. They lived quietly in Seoul, trying to be normal people again. It was hard. They both had nightmares. Both jumped at sudden noises. Both saw fire everywhere, but they were healing. The galaxy was healing too. The Vorath Empire was gone, replaced by the Free Council. Every species had an equal vote. Humans, Vorath, Helkan, Dralen, Torvin, and dozens of others worked together to build something better. It was messy. There were arguments and conflicts,